When Jim Blanchard came out in February of this year, the government asked him if he could help them develop the Santa Maria Peninsula. It's right across the bay from Maputo. It's actually a peninsula. If you look at it, Maputo would be like Oakland, and this peninsula is like San Francisco. It's virgin. Looked like a real good place to develop. But when the Bechtel group got into it, they found several problems with it. There's no infrastructure, and there's no reason really for tourists to come there. Then they got to looking at it, and they came up with, they said, hey, the thing that brings tourists to Africa is the park. And just to the south of the peninsula, you have the Maputo Elephant Reserve. So we're trying to resolve this thing and see if we can make something out of the peninsula. Really, we started talking about it as being the tail, and here's the dog, so we better go concentrate on the dog. So we went along and talked to Senor Chitra, Minister of Wildlife and Forest. We got to talking to him, and we said, hey, when are you going to get that park up and running? We're trying to do a study on this peninsula up here, and, we just can't make it. There's no reason for tourists to come. And as we talked to him, he said, well, hey, you capitalists here with all your money, why don't you get the park running? We said, well, hey, that's a good idea, so maybe we'll do that. So anyway, we got thinking about that, and that seemed like the way to salvage the thing. Work on the dog first and the tail second. In other words, we'd have the cart before the horse. So in July, we went out and got Poos, Ace, and White. They're a South African group, and they are the people that designed the Pielingsburg Reserve, 55,000 hectares just behind Sun City. And the net result was they came up with this report, which was given to the government on the 27th of September. And the good news is that you can make a world-class park out there. They looked at it and they said it's wonderful rolling country. There had been animals there. There's been something like 600 elephants before the war. There's a herd of about 100 left now. The rhino had all been shot out and the rest of the game was gone. But they said, you could make a great park out of it. Well, part of it was the rapid revitalization and expansion. Now, when we talk about expansion, there had been a plan afoot for several years sponsored by World Bank, which extended the park down to the border with Natal and ties in with the Ndumo and Tembe parks, and it keeps the Puti Channel where these elephants for thousands of years have been migrating. So really the GUW plan took the plan that was on the table and said, okay, here's what it's cost, here's how you do it, and Blanchard comes along and says, hey, Mr. President, if you start this in January of '96, we'll have tourists there in 18 months. And we're going to spend about, over the next several years, $200 million on doing this. But we think we can make a world-class destination. Now, one could ask, why do you think there'd be a market here? Well, actually, if you look at the echo map for Southern Africa, Mozambique is surrounded in Malawi, Zimbabwe, Namibia, Botswana, and South Africa by 37 major parks. You look at Mozambique, it's blank. Here's a country with a coastline that stretches from Seattle to San Diego, beautiful beach, no parks. Why? Well, it's been at war for 30 years, and now's the time. It's ripe for the taking. All you have to do is put in a park. Now, the idea, Blanchard and their consultants have come up with the idea, we're not going to create just another park. We're going to break into the market with something spectacular, something that puts us ahead of the queue. For instance, we're going to have a floating hotel. We're going to have a train system that will take the people from Santa Maria down to the park. You'll be able to take a day train. You'll be able to come and stay a week on a sleeper and move through the park, or you can take the night train, supper, and gamble. And we have a whole list of innovative ideas like that take this spectacular, what could be a spectacular park, and the combination of beach, which would be a first in Africa, and the antique steam train, and you build on that. And the idea is to create a situation where Mozambique gets back on the tourist map.
The heart of the region, in terms of creating a world-class tourist destination, is the neglected Maputo Elephant Reserve. The reserve was once inhabited by significant numbers of elephants and the highest concentration of rhinos in the world. Today, there's only a small herd of surviving elephants and no rhino. BME have contracted the creators of the world-famous Pilanesberg Reserve to formalize an action plan for the expansion and rapid revitalization of the comatose reserve. Close, Ace, and White consultants have come up with an impressive plan to restore the reserve to well beyond its former days. Elephant and rhino, weighing several tons each, and a host of other game will be translocated from neighboring South Africa. Once wildlife to the area has been reintroduced, the project will be up and running. There will be no looking back. BME's plan for Mozambique is not to follow tourism trends, but to set them. This will bring Mozambique's sleeping giant out of hibernation with a splash to the head of the queue of Southern Africa's ecotourism industry. The key is to do a large development in order to get critical mass to solve the present lack of infrastructure and access problems to the region. Then create something new, unique, and spectacular. Once the tourist has landed at Maputo's international airport, they can spend the day in either the 5-star Palana, 4-star Kadoja, or 3-star Terminis hotels, savoring the lingering mystique of the old LM, which is now Maputo. Once finished with their visit of Maputo, they will depart by hydrofoil or hovercraft for a rapid ride to the Santa Maria Peninsula. An antique steam train will move clients to the expanded Maputo Elephant Reserve, where they can view Africa's Big Five at their leisure. The luxurious Robus Rail, which journeys from Cape Town to Dar es Salaam, will be linked to BME's rail system. It will be the first time in history that a major park in Africa will be visited by train. The development plan for the Santa Maria Peninsula is to create a 25,000-acre Big Five reserve, which will become some of the world's most prized real estate. Exclusive plots will be designed around the region's 30 lakes and wetland systems, with or without views of the Indian Ocean. The plots will be sold to the Learjet set as the ultimate getaway, with an international business center, complete with phones, faxes, interactive TV, and state-of-the-art communications, in addition to emergency health services. BME's master plan calls for the eventual investment of $600 million into the peninsula. Another $200 million would be invested into the Maputo Elephant Reserve for its rapid revitalization and expansion. But something like $10 million is all that is required to get the process going. Then it becomes internally self-financing by the plot sales on the peninsula and the sale of tourism concessions in the reserve. BME have consulted the local community about the project and have their support. The community consists of predominantly fishermen who moonlight in slash and burn agriculture efforts that threaten the pristine beauty of the peninsula. Nocturnal raids by the peninsula's 30 hippo, bush pig, and monkey make farming futile. At present, the impoverished community is forced to eco-living from the region's sparse natural resources. The BME plan gives them the opportunity for a dramatically improved new way of life. BME have chosen to make the traditional land dwellers preferred shared partners, directly sharing in the future development.